The velvet curtains parted to reveal the candlelit dining room of Le Rêve, its plush burgundy chairs and mirrored walls reflecting golden flickers of light. Mia adjusted the strap of her emerald green gown, its silk hugging her curves, and traced the rim of her wineglass with a trembling fingertip. Across from her sat Liam, crisp in a navy tuxedo, the firm's logo subtly embroidered on his cuff. Tonight was supposed to mark something more than a promotion. It was the moment Mia dreamed he'd propose. She remembered the first time they'd dined here, 3 years ago. Liam, fresh out of business school, had fumbled through 3-course names but insisted on paying. Mia, then a junior marketing associate, had blushed at his awkward charm. Now, his confidence was palpable. He carried himself like he owned the room. Yet, as the sommelier poured their champagne, she felt an undercurrent of distance, an unspoken gap yawning between them. Liam met her gaze, eyes gleaming, and raised his flute. To new beginnings, he toasted, voice smooth. And to us, of course. His words hung in the air like spun sugar, sweet, but too fleeting. Mia returned the toast with a soft smile, her heart fluttering at how handsome he looked under the soft chandelier glow. But instead of leaning in, he settled back, his expression unreadable. They moved through courses, truffle-scented mushroom soup, seared sea bass, chocolate soufflé. Each plate was a masterpiece, each moment, a quiet chasm. Mia recapped her week at the agency, her voice eager. Liam nodded politely, then offered his own news. My promotion means we'll be relocating to New York. My division is merging with the headquarters. His tone was factual, almost clinical. When the waiter cleared their plates, Liam's smile stayed fixed, but his eyes turned distant. Mia, you know how much this means to me, he began, lowering his voice. She leaned forward. Of course, she whispered. I'm so proud of you. Her chest tightened when he didn't reach for her hand. Instead, he took a deep breath. But I don't think this is working. Silence crashed over her like a rogue wave. Mia blinked, her next breath caught in her throat. Working? She echoed. What do you mean? He swallowed, gaze steady. Us. You're just not polished enough for where I'm going. His words struck like ice shards. I need someone who can navigate that world. Mia stared at her reflection in the polished silverware, the vibrant woman she'd always been, now crumbling under his condemnation. The restaurant's soft piano faded into a muffled hum. She wanted to argue, to beg, to ask why she was never enough. But her voice cracked. So this is goodbye? Liam's jaw tightened. I'm sorry. He stood, pocketing his phone. Without another look, he walked away, leaving Mia framed by glowing candles and worthlessness. Her world tilted, and for a moment, she wondered if the floor beneath her would give way. When the lights dimmed to signal closing time, Mia remained seated, alone among empty tables. The final clang of a silver tray felt like a gavel. As she gathered her purse, she resolved that if this was an ending, she would ignite something wholly new. Dawn's pale light seeped through Mia's drawn curtains, painting her apartment in dreary gray. She awoke with a pounding heart, half expecting Liam to kiss her awake. Instead, her phone buzzed relentlessly. Blurry-eyed, she swiped through morning texts, concerned friends, missed calls from her mother, a cryptic email notification from Vanessa Caldwell. Curiosity pried her from the bed. At the screen, she stared at a glossy press release, Caldwell and Company. Welcomes Vanessa Caldwell, CEO's daughter, as new marketing director. Liam Thompson joins forces with the new power duo. A crisp photo showed Vanessa, a poised woman in a tailored suit, blonde hair perfectly styled, smiling alongside Liam, her hand resting on his arm. Beneath the headline, a secondary banner announced Mia's agency being acquired by Caldwell and Company. Her chest tightened. Replaced overnight, Vanessa had stepped into every space Mia once occupied, Liam's heart, her job, her future. Mia's phone fell from numb fingers. Tears burned her eyes, but anger flared hotter. She pressed her palms to the cold window pane, tracing the silhouette of skyscrapers she once dreamed of conquering by his side. A knock rattled the door. It was Grace, her best friend since college, cheeks pale. "Mia, I saw the news," Grace whispered, eyes rimmed. She offered coffee and condolences. They sat on Mia's thrift store couch, sipping bitter brews. Grace's voice trembled. How could he? "Vanessa's, well, you know her." Mia pressed a tissue to her lips, anger sharpening her tone. "The boss's daughter. He thinks he's upgraded. But she's a hollow trophy." Grace nodded, reaching over to squeeze her hand. Outside, the city pulsed with business as usual, indifferent to heartbreak. By noon, rejection emails arrived. "Thank you for your hard work, however, we've restructured and no longer need your position." Mia's inbox flooded with agencies claiming her resume, but she couldn't muster replies. Instead, she scrolled through her photo feed, memories of laughter, selfies with Liam, promises of forever. Each pixel now felt like betrayal. That night, Mia sat on her fire escape, legs dangling over the edge. Vanessa and Liam's social media posts glowed on her phone, 2 glasses clinking in a rooftop bar. Mia clenched her fists. The city skyline looked identical, yet her life had been erased. Yet somewhere in that ache, a spark of rebellion ignited. She would rise, not as Liam's accessory, but on her own unshakable ground. Mia stepped into the towering glass lobby of Caldwell and Company for what she thought was a meeting about her severance. Her heels clicked against marble floors. At the reception, a stern-faced woman directed her to the 7th floor marketing department. Mia's pulse fluttered. She rehearsed polite words, grateful for any clarity. In the sleek conference room, her former boss, Mr. Caldwell himself, sat flanked by Vanessa. The elder Caldwell's salt and pepper hair gleamed beneath fluorescent lights. His eyes, cold yet calculating, met hers. "Mia Bennett," he began, nodding curtly. "Thank you for coming." Vanessa leaned forward, her smile thin. "I wanted to meet the woman whose work we just absorbed." Mia forced a nod. "I'm here to discuss." Mr. Caldwell raised a hand. "Your employment is terminated, effective immediately." However, he paused, relishing the moment. "Vanessa and I have reviewed your projects. We'll be integrating some of your ideas, with proper credit, of course." Vanessa's lips curved. "I'll let human resources finalize the paperwork." Mia felt the room tilt. "Credit," she repeated. "So I'm fired, but you'll use my work without compensation?" Her voice shook, barely masking fury. Mr. Caldwell tapped his pen. "Standard practice. Good luck in your future endeavors." As Mia walked out, box in hand, colleagues shot sympathetic glances. The elevator ride felt eternal. When the doors opened to the lobby, she exhaled, her chest heaving. Outside, a sleek black SUV pulled up. Liam emerged, phone pressed to his ear, laughing. He glanced up, surprised to see her. He ended the call and offered a hollow smile. "Mia, I didn't expect to see you here." His voice was apologetic, but she saw the steel in his eyes. "I'm sorry about the layoff." She held his gaze, nausea rising. "You don't get to apologize. You built this web." With that, she stepped past him into the street, the city's roar swallowing her resolve. Later that night, drenched from an unexpected downpour, Mia collapsed on a park bench. Her box of belongings sat beside her, photo frames, notebooks, half-used pens. The world had stripped away her identity, girlfriend, employee, beloved. But beneath the shivers and exhaustion, a single thought pulsed: she had nothing to lose. A taxi deposited Mia in front of a modest brick building in a quieter neighborhood. She climbed 3 flights to Lucas's apartment, its door plastered with startup stickers and a whiteboard brimming with code snippets. Lucas swung the door open, eyes wide at her soaked state. "Mia?" "What happened?" he asked, pulling her inside and wrapping a towel around her shoulders. His dark skin contrasted against the white curtain backdrop, his warm brown eyes shone with concern. She sank onto his threadbare couch, clutching the towel like a lifeline. "I got fired." Lost everything. Her voice cracked. She recounted the promotion dinner, Vanessa's takeover, and the crushing meeting with Mr. Caldwell. Lucas listened intently, brows furrowed. When she finished, Lucas stayed silent, then offered a gentle laugh. Well, you're here now. My couch has seen worse. He fetched a mug of hot tea. Look, I know you're angry, and you should be. But rage is energy. Let's channel it. Mia stared at him. Channel it how? Lucas stood and grabbed his laptop. I'm working on Anchor, a mental wellness app. I've got the code and the idea, but I've been stuck on branding and user experience. You're brilliant at marketing. Help me shape Anchor, and I'll give you equity. Cash is tight, but I believe in paying in sweat equity. Mia's bitterness flickered, then curiosity bloomed. Equity? He nodded, voice steady. Build something that saves others, but also saves you. If you help me turn this into a real product, we'll both win. She surveyed his tiny living room, an old couch, a single chair, and walls covered in sticky notes. It was nothing like the corporate offices she'd just left. Yet here, she felt a glimmer of possibility. That night, they sketched logos on his whiteboard, testing fonts and colors. Mia's laughter echoed in the small space. For the first time since Liam walked away, she believed in herself, not as someone's plus one, but as her own person. The next morning, Lucas led Mia to a local cafe famous for its artisanal brews. The aroma of freshly ground beans and cinnamon buns greeted them. Mia tucked her laptop under her arm, determined to give Anchor her all. They settled at a corner table. Lucas opened his laptop to reveal a half-built interface, lists of user prompts, wireframes, and lines of JavaScript. Mia traced her finger along the screen. Right now, Anchor is one more app in a sea of wellness tools, she observed. We need a unique hook, something personal. Lucas frowned thoughtfully. I've been wrestling with that. Journals, affirmations, but nothing that feels truly transformative. Mia sipped her latte, steam curling over her fingers. What if we tap into shared experiences? Like a feature where users write letters they never send, to an ex, to their younger self, to someone they lost. It's deeply emotional and viral potential is huge. Lucas's eyes lit up. Letters to my ex. I love it. We could integrate voiceovers, let people record their letters. Make it multimedia. A barista delivered their drinks. Mia's cappuccino arrived in a mismatched mug, foam art half-melted. She smiled. Perfect imperfection, just like our journey. They dove into brainstorming, color palettes that felt warm and intimate, typography that balanced elegance with approachability, on-screen prompts that coaxed vulnerability. They wrote sample scripts for onboarding videos, drafted taglines, your truth, your anchor. At one point, Mia paused and looked out the window at the bustling street. A woman rushed by, earbuds in, tapping her phone anxiously. Mia imagined that woman snapping a journaling prompt on Anchor, finding solace in typing Dear Liam, and letting it all out. She felt a lump in her throat. This app could heal the exact wounds that faced her. Hours slipped by. By late afternoon, they had a rudimentary prototype of the Letters to My Ex feature, complete with mock-ups and a storyboard for a launch campaign. Lucas leaned back, exhaustion mingling with exhilaration. We're onto something, Mia. She closed her laptop, heart pounding. We really are. A sense of purpose surged through her. For the first time in days, she wasn't defined by what she'd lost, but by what she was building. As they stepped out into the cool evening air, Mia inhaled deeply. The city lights shimmered with possibility. Behind her, the cafe's neon sign flickered. Anchor. The word tasted like hope. She looked at Lucas, gratitude shining in her eyes. Ready for the grind? He asked, slipping an arm around her shoulders. Mia nodded, stepping forward. More than ever. Together, they walked into the dusk, two visionaries bound by heartbreak and a shared dream, ready to turn pain into power. The morning sunlight that filtered through Lucas's apartment window caught in Mia's hair as she sat cross-legged on the threadbare carpet, a stack of self-help books sprawled around her like a fortress of intention. Yesterday's heartbreak still throbbed at her jawline, the taste of betrayal lingering like a poor vintage, but today, she vowed, would mark the first step in reclaiming her power. "Let's start here," Lucas said gently, pointing to a chapter in Mind Over Matter, a guide to cognitive reframing. He pressed play on his battered Bluetooth speaker, and the soft cadence of a guided meditation filled the room. Mia closed her eyes, inhaled the muggy city air, and let her shoulders drop. The words washed over her, "You are not defined by their decisions." When the session ended, Mia hovered between serenity and skepticism. Lucas smiled. "Therapy's not a cure-all, but it helps clear mental clutter." He handed her a phone. "I also booked you a session with Dr. Adewale, he's amazing." Mia raised an eyebrow. "I can't exactly afford." Lucas waved away her concern. "I traded some equity for a few pro bono sessions." His eyes were earnest. "You need all the support you can get." That afternoon, Mia sat across from Dr. Adewale in a softly lit office lined with soothing abstract art. The therapist's gentle tone guided her through unpacking the rejection. When someone tells you you're not good enough, it's their fear talking. Mia's throat tightened. But what if they're right? She confessed her deepest doubt, that she truly lacked the polish Liam craved. Dr. Adewale leaned forward. "Right now, the only voice that matters is yours. Let's work on strengthening it." They spent an hour unpacking self-critical thoughts and reframing them into affirmations. "I am capable. My worth is intrinsic." By the end, Mia felt the first stirrings of self-belief she hadn't felt in months. Back home, Lucas was hunched over his laptop, lines of code reflecting on his glasses. "Ready to switch gears?" he asked, swiveling the screen toward her. "I set up a basic UI design course online." Mia rolled up her sleeves. "Hit me." Over the next week, her days followed a rigorous routine: dawn yoga stretches in Lucas's cramped living room, breakfast of oatmeal and fresh berries, 2 hours of UI tutorials, lunch of turkey sandwiches at the corner deli, afternoons mapping out the anchor interface, evenings at the gym pounding the punching bag until her knuckles bled, late night journaling under lamplight. One evening, she stared at a blank screen, frustration tightening her chest. She had wrestled with color theory for hours, but the palette felt lifeless. Lucas walked in, sweaty from a park run, and nudged her chair. "Show me what you've got." She sighed, clicking through swatches of pastels and grays. "It's all safe. Boring." Lucas tapped the monitor. "What about warm earth tones? Something that feels like a hug." Mia's eyes lit up. She swapped in terracotta accents, muted olive backgrounds, and ivory text. The screen seemed to glow with new life. "That feels like home." Lucas hooped, startling her. "Exactly." That night, Mia lay on her side, journal in hand, writing, "Dear future me, thank you for fighting, for refusing to be erased." She paused, closing her eyes. The pain of the past still pulsed, but beneath it, a born-again resilience shimmered. She had shed her old identity, and in the process, discovered a fiercer one. Anchor was no longer a side hustle, it was Mia's lifeline. The tiny apartment transformed into mission control, notebooks stacked like totems, whiteboard grids mapping user flows, and 2 mismatched laptops blinking with prototype code. One rain-soaked evening, Lucas leaned over Mia's shoulder. "Your new onboarding screens are live. Want to test?" Mia tapped start on the phone screen. A warm gradient unfolded into a gentle prompt: "Welcome to Anchor. Let's begin with a letter to someone who hurt you." The text box pulsed, inviting. Suddenly, Mia's own words from the previous night appeared. "Dear Liam," she hissed under her breath. "Did I leave it saved?" Lucas peered at the code. "Oops, default placeholder." That was meant to be generic text. He winced. Your personal letters aren't supposed to show. Mia closed her eyes, then laughed, a surprising sound. It's okay. It's raw. Maybe people need that authenticity. They debated. On one hand, privacy concerns, on the other, a viral hook. Finally, they compromised. Users could choose preset prompts or write from scratch, and any default sample would be anonymized quotes from public figures. With that settled, they tackled the core feature, daily affirmations tied to journal entries. Lucas implemented mood tracking sliders, Mia drafted prompts. What are 3 things you liked about yourself today? Weeks of iterative testing followed. They corralled a focus group of college friends, 12 students who spent evenings scribbling letters into their phones. One tester, Ava, hesitated at the letter to my ex screen. But after tentatively typing a few lines, she began to cry. This is real. Afterward, she gushed to Mia over steaming lattes. I've journaled before, but never spoken it out loud. Your voiceover prompt made me feel heard. Mia's heart throbbed. Heard. That was the power they were building. Meanwhile, Lucas argued over scaling architecture. We need cloud servers now, he insisted. Mia sighed, funds were tight. But she believed. She pitched her mother for a small loan, appealing to her empathy. Their conversation crackled with suspense. Mia, Mom, I know you don't fully get tech, but Anchor is helping people. I need just $5,000 to keep our servers alive for another 3 months. Mrs. Bennett, voice wavering, Mia, I've already helped you when you were a child overseas, but I'm proud of you. You have it. With her mother's support, Mia secured a modest grant from a local women in business initiative. Now, they could invest in better infrastructure and expand their small team. Late nights blurred into dawn. One morning, bleary-eyed, Mia stepped onto her balcony as the city rumbled beneath. She watched a taxi barrel around the corner, headlights slicing through fog. In that haze, she felt the magnitude of their gamble and the thrill of possibility. Lucas appeared beside her, offering 2 coffees. To late nights, he toasted. Mia clinked her cup. And big dreams. The day of Anchor's beta release, Mia woke with tremors in her fingertips. She and Lucas had crafted an understated launch email, introducing Anchor, your companion for emotional resilience. Join our beta. They sent it to 500 signups, friends, colleagues, and local influencers. Within the first hour, registrations ticked upward, 50. 100. 200, Mia paced the apartment, refreshing the analytics dashboard. By lunchtime, they'd hit 1,000. Social media lit up with users posting screenshots. Just wrote my first letter to an ex, feels weird, feels good. Encouraged, Mia reached out to Tola, a popular campus influencer. Tola agreed to do an Instagram story demo. That afternoon, a 30-second clip showed Tola tapping through Anchor's interface, her captions praising the incredibly cathartic journaling feature. Overnight, downloads surged. Mia and Lucas watched an Aza college in Abuja onboard 300 students, a wellness coach in Lagos emailed about group licensing, even a tech blogger in Nairobi tweeted, "This #Anchor app is fire, journaling meets therapy." Amid the excitement, a server hiccup triggered downtime. Panic spread, error messages, user complaints. Mia threw herself into triage, messaging affected users, liaising with cloud support, soothing frustrated testers. By midnight, services were restored. She collapsed into bed at 2 a.m., adrenaline still roaring. The next morning, the app was trending on the app stores, new and noteworthy. Mia scrolled through reviews. I never thought digital journaling could feel so intimate. Anchor's daily check-ins saved my week. One review stood out, finally, an app that acknowledges trauma and helps me process it. Mia's chest swelled, this was the vindication she craved. Lucas bounded into her office corner, waving his phone. Check this. He showed a notification, a local radio station wanted to interview them live. On air, Mia's voice was steady but charged. Interviewer, what inspired Anchor? Mia, after losing my job, I realized emotional wellness isn't optional. I wanted a space for honest reflection. She spoke about vulnerability as strength. By the end, callers flooded in with stories of heartbreak and healing. That evening, as Mia prepared dinner on her small stove, her phone buzzed with excited texts. Her cheeks hurt from smiling. From her apartment window, she glimpsed city lights dancing, a network of stories lit by her creation. Anchor had soft launched, but its response was deafening. Just when Mia thought they'd mastered the launch, fate threw them a curveball. She was scrolling TikTok between meetings when she froze on a trending video. Text overlay read, "Dear X, my real letter." The clip showed a user's anguished voice reading, "You said I was too emotional. Tonight, I learned to channel that emotion into strength." Comments exploded, "So powerful, loudly crying face, this is exactly what I needed." Mia tapped the profile, thousands of followers, dozens of videos under the hashtag #MyAnchorLetter. Their Letters to My Ex feature had gone viral without fanfare. Her heart raced. "Lucas," she hissed, dragging him over. "Look at this." He studied the video, eyes widening. "They're using our in-app recorder to post directly. We didn't even promote that." Mia scrolled through dozens of clips, users sharing raw words, tagging friends, generating thousands of reposts. The algorithm was eating it up. "What do we do?" she asked, voice trembling. Lucas punched keys. "We lean in." He spun up a campaign, encourage users to tag #AnchorLetter and highlight their favorite posts in a weekly roundup. Within hours, Anchor's user base quintupled. News outlets caught wind. Teenagers on TikTok were getting therapeutic benefit from an app built by a girl who was dumped. Mia's phone pinged with interview requests from BuzzFeed and Vice. But amidst the triumph, Mia felt a flicker of panic. This growth was organic but unplanned. If the servers buckled again, they'd lose momentum. She and Lucas worked through the night, coordinating with cloud engineers, scaling up resources, drafting responses for the press. One moment stood out. At 3 a.m., Mia received a direct message from a user named @HopeHeals. "Mia, your app saved my life. I was ready to give up. Thank you." Mia's breath caught. She typed back, "You are not alone. Keep writing." Tears pricked her eyes. This was the payoff for every sleepless night, every self-doubt. She had built more than an app, she had built a lifeline. Meanwhile, across town, in the sleek boardroom of Caldwell and Company, tension simmered like a pressure cooker. Liam and Vanessa sat at opposite ends of a glossy mahogany table, surrounded by solemn board members. The quarterly report lay open before them. Employee engagement was down 12%, attrition up 8%. The culprit? A wellness app called Anchor. Vanessa tapped her manicured nails. "They're leaving us for journaling?" His father, Mr. Caldwell, cleared his throat. "Our wellness platform is outdated. Employees are complaining. We need to license Anchor, immediately." Liam's stomach lurched. His breath caught at the mention of Anchor. He recognized the app's wireframe from when he'd glanced at Mia's screen that fateful day in the lobby. Before he could speak, the CFO interjected, "Our legal team says Anchor is ineligible for enterprise licensing due to privacy policies. We'll need to renegotiate terms." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Find a workaround." Across town, Mia's phone buzzed incessantly. She and Lucas had just wrapped a celebratory Wi-Fi upgrade when Lucas looked at her with wide eyes. Caldwell and Company just sent a licensing inquiry. Mia's heart hammered. "Are they serious?" He nodded. "They want a proposal by Monday." In that instant, Mia's past collided with her present. She stared at the company's logo on the email and let out a slow breath. He was in that room right now, plotting to reclaim what he'd once dismissed so casually. That weekend, Mia and Lucas barricaded themselves in a rented co-working space. They drafted a pitch deck that wove personal testimony into corporate ROI, testimonials from users whose mental health improved by 40%, metrics on daily active use, projections for scaling across global offices. On Monday morning, as she donned her favorite power blazer, Lucas slipped her a handwritten note, "Remember why you started." At the Caldwell boardroom entrance, Mia paused, smoothing the lapels of her jacket. The receptionist led her to the waiting area, where Vanessa appeared, icy smile intact. "Mia. I didn't expect you." Mia returned the grin. "You'll find I'm full of surprises." Inside, she delivered her pitch with laser focus. Each slide reinforced the human impact behind the data. When she reached the projected revenue chart, showing Anchor subscriptions tripling every quarter, the board erupted in questions. Liam sat forward, jaw clenched. "Who is behind this?" he asked, voice tight. Mia clicked to her final slide, her name, her photo, and a quote, "I was told I wasn't polished enough. Today, I'm polishing the way we care for ourselves." She held Liam's gaze for a heartbeat, then addressed the room. "I'm Mia Bennett, and I'm not here to sell you out. I'm here to scale something that matters." A silence followed, thick with realization. Then, applause. As the board members conferred, Mia glanced at Liam. His expression had softened with admiration and regret. She felt a rush of vindication, but she didn't gloat. Instead, she sent Lucas a subtle thumbs up across the table. By week's end, Caldwell and Company and Anchor signed a licensing agreement that honored user privacy and compensated Mia fairly. Back in Lucas's apartment, they popped sparkling juice and hugged, the city lights winking outside as if celebrating their triumph. Mia leaned back, the weight of the past weeks lifting. She had survived abandonment, betrayal, joblessness, and emerged not just polished, but purpose-driven. Her ex had given her one thing she never expected, a stage to shine. And shine she would. Mia woke to the sharp trill of her phone's alarm, the early morning light barely brushing Lucas's faded couch. Yesterday's triumph was still humming in her blood, Anchor's servers had held steady, and user counts had doubled. Yet today felt different, an email notification from corporate_inquiries at caldwellco.com. Her heart fluttered as she tapped the subject line, Anchor licensing proposal, request for presentation. The body of the message was succinct. "Dear Anchor team, we would like to schedule a formal presentation for an enterprise licensing agreement. Kindly confirm availability next Monday at 10 a.m. Her breath caught. It was the board that had dismissed her a month ago, the same company that had fired her, used her work, and left her homeless. Now, they were begging to partner. Lucas appeared, coffee in hand. Seeing her pale face, he set the mug down. "Everything okay?" Mia waved at the screen. "They want us to pitch Anchor for corporate licensing." Lucas blinked, then grinned. "You mean them, Caldwell and Company?" She swallowed. "Yes." Over the next 48 hours, Mia and Lucas transformed their small apartment into war room headquarters. Whiteboards bristled with bullet points, technical infrastructure, user engagement metrics, privacy compliance, and pricing tiers. Mia drafted slides that wove personal testimony, her own journey from despair to empowerment, into hard data. Lucas refined server forecasts and legal language. On Sunday evening, Lucas paused mid-typing. "You look exhausted." He closed his laptop. "Go to bed early. Bring your A game tomorrow." Mia lay awake instead, mind racing. She pictured the boardroom's gleaming table, Vanessa's cool smile, Liam's unreadable gaze. A swirl of emotions, vindication, fear, anger, knotted in her chest. But beneath it all was a steady determination, she would not be the broken ex-girlfriend again. Monday, 9 a.m. Mia stepped into Caldwell and Company's lobby, the marble floors echoing with her heels. The receptionist directed her up to the 20th floor. As the elevator climbed, her pulse thundered. When the doors opened, she was met by Vanessa, towering in a cream pantsuit, and 3 board members seated around a polished table. Vanessa's eyes flicked to Mia's portfolio case. Glad you could make it, she said, voice cool. Shall we begin? Mia nodded and laid out her laptop. The lights dimmed as her first slide appeared, a simple black screen with anchor in elegant serif. Soft piano music played, a cue Lucas had embedded. Mia spoke clearly, "Good morning. I'm Mia Bennett, co-founder and CEO of Anchor. 2 months ago, I was at your company, as an employee. Today, I'm here to offer you a solution that will elevate your corporate wellness beyond buzzwords." A board member raised an eyebrow. Vanessa half smiled. Liam, seated at the far end, folded his arms. Mia clicked to slide 2, user growth graph soaring across the screen. Anchor saw 50,000 downloads in its first week, with a 70% daily active engagement. Our Letters to My Ex feature alone sparked over 100,000 user-generated videos on social sharing platforms. Liam's jaw tightened. Mia paused, letting the numbers sink in. Then she pivoted, but metrics aside, Anchor is about human stories, stories of resilience, of transformation. We integrate evidence-based therapy prompts with social accountability, fostering community healing. She clicked again, testimonials scrolled, text overlay on user-submitted photos. A woman in Nigeria wrote, "Anchor helped me find my voice after domestic abuse." A college student in Kenya shared, "I finally let go of guilt." As Mia spoke, the board members exchanged glances. Vanessa's lips pressed into a thin line. Liam leaned forward, eyes fixed on Mia with a flicker of recognition. When the final slide, projected revenue growth, glowed on the wall, Mia concluded, "We're not selling an app. We're licensing a movement." She closed her laptop and met Liam's gaze, steady, unwavering. Silence stretched. Then the CFO cleared his throat. "Impressive presentation, Ms. Bennett. We'll deliberate and revert by end of day." Mia stood, her legs tingling. She inclined her head. "Thank you for the opportunity." As she exited, Vanessa whispered, barely audible, "Good luck." Mia's only response was a small, confident smile. Back in her apartment, Mia exhaled deeply. The pitch was done, but the real work had begun, waiting. She and Lucas monitored their phones like sentinels. Monday, 3 p.m. An email notification blinked, Caldwell and Company, decision on licensing proposal. Mia opened it, hands trembling. "Ms. Bennett. On behalf of the board, we are pleased to offer Anchor an enterprise licensing agreement. We invite you to lead the initial integration workshop with our executive team next Thursday. Welcome aboard. Sincerely, the Caldwell and Company Board." Mia stared at the screen, tears prickling. Lucas whooped and grabbed her in a bear hug. Thursday, 10 a.m., integration workshop. Mia entered a massive, glass-walled conference room. Dozens of executives sat at curved tables, laptops open. At the head of the room stood Liam, now wearing a dark gray suit that perfectly matched the board's drab tones. He looked nervous. She stepped to the podium, the logo Anchor X Caldwell illuminated behind her. A hush fell. Mia's pulse throbbed in her ears, but her voice rang clear. "Welcome, everyone. Today marks the beginning of our partnership to redefine corporate wellness." She guided them through a live demonstration, signing up, writing their first letter to my ex, though here it was letter to your past self, and recording an affirmation. Mia invited Liam on stage. "Liam, would you demonstrate?" she said, voice warm but firm. He hesitated, then approached. In a spotlight, he tapped through the interface and read aloud, "Dear Liam's past self, trust your instincts." His voice cracked. The executives watched, rapt. When he finished, Mia thanked him and moved to the next module, team journaling, group affirmation circles, analytics dashboards for HR. Every click showcased Anchor's seamless integration. At one point, a senior HR director raised her hand. "How do we ensure confidentiality?" Mia smiled, bringing up the privacy architecture diagram. End-to-end encryption, on-device data storage options, and customizable retention policies. Heads nodded. Phones glowed as executives took screenshots. By the session's end, applause rippled through the room. As attendees filed out, a jubilant Liam approached Mia, eyes shining. "You were incredible." Mia nodded, heart full. "We did it, together." Word of the successful integration workshop rippled through corporate circles like wildfire. Yet even as contracts were drafted, a new challenge emerged: Vanessa's bid to buy Anchor outright. Friday, 6 p.m. Mia's phone buzzed with a notification, incoming call from Vanessa Caldwell. She stared at the screen before answering. "Ms. Bennett," Vanessa's voice was smooth. "Congratulations on the successful workshop. I've been authorized by my family office to discuss an acquisition." Mia's chest tightened. "Acquisition?" Vanessa continued, "Our offer is $10 million, all cash, no equity. You'd step aside as CEO, but remain on the advisory board." Silence. Mia glanced at Lucas's face in the video pane, shock, disbelief. "Thank you," Mia said slowly. "I appreciate the offer, but Anchor isn't for sale. We're building a movement, not a product to flip." Vanessa's tone sharpened. "You're turning down a life-changing sum, money you could use to scale worldwide." Mia met her gaze. "I built Anchor from my pain. I won't let someone who dismissed me dictate its future." The line went silent. Then Vanessa clicked off. Mia exhaled, knees weak. Lucas leapt up. "That was amazing." Mia sank onto her couch. "It's not about the money. It's about vision." With the acquisition offer spurned, Mia seized a new opportunity, a viral social media moment. Saturday, 2 p.m. Mia recorded a 60-second TikTok. On-screen text: "He dumped me for being not polished enough, so I built an empire." Audio: Mia speaking: "You called me rough around the edges. I call that authenticity." Today, Anchor reaches 2 million users who know real wellness comes from truth. To anyone who ever told you weren't enough, build your own table, and invite them to sit. She posted with the hashtag #KarmaKudos and hashtag Anchor app. Within minutes, views soared, 100K. 500K. 1M, comments flooded, "Preach. Fire girl, you go. I'm downloading right now." By evening, the video had 5 million views. Mainstream media picked it up. Mia awoke Sunday to headlines. BuzzFeed: CEO dumped by X, built wellness empire instead. The Cut: How Mia Bennett turned rejection into revolution. Monday, 9 a.m. Mia opened her laptop to articles dredging up her past. Is Anchor CEO really unpolished? Vanessa Caldwell slams X's social media clapback. Stock tickers for Caldwell and Company dipped 3%. Slack channels buzzed with speculation. One news anchor quipped, "Is this self-made story too good to be true?" Others dissected her therapy background. Mia's team huddled in their makeshift war room. Lucas placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Don't let the noise drown out the truth." Mia drafted a statement. "My journey is real, every setback taught me resilience." Anchor stands for honesty and healing. No amount of backlash will silence voices that need to be heard. She posted across LinkedIn and Twitter. By afternoon, user testimonials poured in defending her. "Anchor saved me. Your vulnerability is inspiring." Media tone shifted, backlash fizzles as users rally behind Anchor. Caldwell and Company's stock recovered by day's end. Vanessa's attempted smear lost steam. Mia exhaled, relief washing over her. On a video call with Lucas that night, Mia marveled, "No matter what they say, we've built something unshakable." Lucas smiled. "That's power." Mia closed her laptop, gazed at Anchor's user map pulsing with dots around the world, and whispered, "This is just the beginning." When the email arrived at 2:17 a.m., Mia was double-checking Anchor's latest analytics report. The subject line, Global Wellness Alliance, Strategic Partnership Inquiry, felt surreal. She blinked at her screen, then shot a glance at Lucas, who'd fallen asleep at his desk, headset askew. "Lucas," she whispered, nudging him. He stirred, rubbing his eyes. Mia read the message aloud. "Dear Ms. Bennett, we have followed Anchor's journey and believe our global wellness network can amplify its reach. Would you consider a strategic partnership to integrate Anchor's journaling features with our corporate and consumer wellness programs?" Lucas straightened instantly, alert. "That's huge." He fetched 2 coffees. As the sun rose over Lagos, they pored over the proposal: joint branding, cross-platform integration, co-developed workshops in Europe, Asia, and North America. The Global Wellness Alliance, GWA, offered not just capital, but access to millions of users, established corporate clients, and thought leader conferences. Over the next week, Mia and Lucas hunkered down in their co-working space. They mapped out a phased rollout. 1. Pilot program with GWA's Fortune 500 client list, integrating Anchor into employee wellness portals. 2. Consumer campaign featuring joint webinars on emotional resilience in the digital age, co-hosted by Mia and GWA's research director. 3. International launch at the GWA Annual Summit. The negotiations were intense. Late-night video calls with GWA's board chairman stretched into 1 a.m., his deep voice booming through Mia's speakers. "GWA chairman, Mia, your story resonates globally. We want your authenticity, but we need operational assurances. Can Anchor scale to 10 million active monthly users by Q4? Mia, heart-pounding, with our new architecture and your infrastructure support, yes. We'll hit it." On the day of the final agreement, Mia donned her favorite emerald blazer. In a glass-walled boardroom at GWA's Lagos headquarters, she and Lucas signed the partnership documents alongside GWA's senior leadership. Flashbulbs popped, press cameras clicked. Vanessa Caldwell's acquisition bid, and Luna's suitor cameo, felt like ancient history. This alliance wasn't just a business deal, it was validation on a multinational stage. That evening, a celebratory after-party unfolded on the rooftop terrace overlooking the city lights. Mia raised her glass, to resilience, to Anchor, and to turning pain into purpose. Lucas clinked his bottle against hers. Below, Lagos pulsed with energy, and for the first time, Mia felt anchored not by her past, but by her limitless future. Meanwhile, in the sleek corridors of Caldwell and Company, the tides had turned. Liam passed rows of empty cubicles to find his new office, a windowless room formerly used for storage. A gold nameplate had been replaced, Junior Consultant, Caldwell Innovations. His crisp tie felt suffocating as he sank behind the chipped laminate desk. The news had broken within the week. Vanessa's family office had retracted funding from his division after CFO reports blamed him for mishandling the Anchor crisis. Vanessa herself delivered the blow in a terse email. "Vanessa, your position has been downgraded. You will report to Mr. Obi, head of our incubator division. Effective immediately." That evening, Liam found himself at a co-working space, headset buzzing with a Slack request, consultant check-in. He stared at the name, Caldwell Interns, and joined. On his screen appeared Aminat Okoye, a fresh-faced 22-year-old Anchor intern who had landed a seat on GWA's pilot program through her startup scholarship. "Aminat, text hello, Mr. Thompson. I'll need your feedback on our pitch deck for tomorrow's demo." Liam, hesitant of course. He scrolled through their slides, diagrams of mood-tracking workflows, user journeys, elements strikingly similar to Anchor's design. His stomach nodded. "I taught her that." The bitter realization sank in that he was now advising under the shadow of Mia's brilliance. Later, Liam met Aminat for coffee in a corner cafe. She greeted him with bright enthusiasm, oblivious to his discomfort. "Aminat, thank you for mentoring me, Mr. Thompson. Your insights into UX have been invaluable. Liam, forcing a smile, happy to help. As she gushed about the potential investors they'd woo, Liam's phone buzzed with Anchor's partnership announcement flash across headlines. He slumped in his chair. The man who once dismissed Mia as unpolished was now watching her empire expand from the sidelines, forced to play second fiddle to an intern he barely understood. That night, Liam stared at his reflection in the cafe window. City lights glimmered behind him, but inside he felt smaller than ever. The socialite who replaced Mia had moved on, his career was a downhill cascade. This is my karma, he thought, as a single tear traced down his cheek. The Global Wellness Alliance's annual summit was hosted in Nairobi's ultra-modern convention center. Mia stepped onto the stage, spotlights warming her skin, as 5,000 attendees rose in applause. Backstage, Lucas squeezed her hand. You got this. Mia inhaled, heart thrumming. From the night Liam walked away to this moment, never in my wildest dreams. The MC introduced her, Mia Bennett, co-founder of Anchor, the fastest-growing wellness platform in Africa. She clicked her remote. The giant screen lit up with a single quote. Never let someone who couldn't see your worth decide your value. The crowd murmured. Mia launched into her keynote, a blend of storytelling and data. She recounted her journey, the dinner breakup, the homeless apartment, the spark with Lucas, the viral letter to my ex phenomenon, and now, the GWA partnership. Each anecdote was punctuated by slides of user testimonials and partnership metrics. Midway, Mia invited a surprise guest, Tola, the campus influencer who had ignited Anchor's social media explosion. Tola emerged, the audience cheering, and demonstrated the real-time journaling feature on stage, her voice wavering as she read a heartfelt letter. The live stream peaked at 100,000 concurrent viewers. As the session neared its close, Mia paused, scanning the audience. In the fifth row sat Liam, jaw slack, eyes wide. She gave him a small nod and swallowed. Then she delivered her signature mic drop line. The person who told me I wasn't polished enough set me on this path. Today, I polish the way we all care for ourselves. A roar of applause surged. Lights pulsed. Mia's vision had become collective energy. That evening, at the summit gala, global wellness leaders surrounded her with partnership inquiries. Investors offered introductions to Silicon Valley VCs, attendees thanked her for redefining wellness as radical authenticity. Under the star-filled African sky on the rooftop lounge, Mia raised her glass to Lucas. We did more than shake the game. Lucas smiled, pride shining in his eyes. You changed it forever. Less than 2 months later, Forbes published its 30 Under 30 Innovators in Health and Wellness list. Mia's name topped the cover, Mia Bennett, founder, Anchor. She stared at the glossy magazine on her coffee table, fingertips trembling. A knock at the door revealed Adora, a Forbes journalist, camera crew in tow. They filmed Mia's morning routine, journaling at dawn, a swift workout, reviewing board meeting notes for Anchor's new women-led startup fund. Mia described her manifesto on camera. Mia, empowerment starts with own narratives. Anchor was born from my heartbreak, now we invest in founders rewriting their futures. That afternoon, Mia hosted the inaugural meeting of the Anchor Women's Venture Fund, allocating $5 million to seed-stage startups led by African women. In the boardroom, she sat alongside venture partners, debating term sheets for the first pitch, a sustainable fashion brand needing branding counsel and seed capital. Mia leaned forward, voice firm. Mia, we're not just investors. We're mentors and community builders. Let's ensure these founders have the network, not just the money. The founder, eyes shining, thanked Mia for believing in her vision. Mia felt the same thrill she'd felt launching Anchor, the power of enabling someone else's breakthrough. Over the next weeks, media outlets chronicled her evolution, from scorned ex-girlfriend to venture capitalist, from app founder to social impact icon. Mia and Lucas toured universities, delivered guest lectures, and even undertook a TEDx in Accra, where she closed her talk with, "Your darkest moments can anchor your greatest contributions." Everywhere she went, young women approached her with gratitude. In a classroom in Ibadan, a teenager pressed a handmade card into her hand. "Thank you for showing me resilience." Mia smiled through tears. This was the legacy she'd envisioned when she first turned pain into code. On a warm Lagos evening, Mia strolled along Tarkwa Bay Beach, the sunset painting the sky in hues of tangerine and violet. Lucas walked beside her, hand in hers, their footprints trailing behind. They paused at the water's edge. Mia's phone buzzed. A notification glowed on the screen. "Liam Thompson viewed your LinkedIn profile." She chuckled softly, the sound carried away by ocean breezes. Lucas, teasing, curious, isn't he? Mia, smiling, maybe he's wondering what he gave up. She slid the phone into her pocket and turned to Lucas. The beach was empty now, save for their silhouettes against the glowing horizon. Mia took a deep breath, savoring the salt-tinged air and the rhythm of the waves. "Mia, ready for the next chapter?" "Lucas, with you?" "Always." They shared a tender kiss under the fading light. Behind them, the city's skyline shimmered, testament to how far they'd come. Mia reached into her tote bag and pulled out her journal, pen poised. She wrote 3 words at the top: "New beginnings ahead." As night fell, Mia and Lucas walked back toward the city lights, footfalls merging with the tide. The Anchor app on her phone glowed, reminding her that her story, once defined by someone else's dismissal, was now authored by her own unbreakable spirit. The end.